That's why I'm Katie blowing high like Arizona, blowing them 3-5s. I'm missing all my amigos on this Cinco, RIP 5. Even when I'm hurt, I tell myself that I'm gonna be fine. I feel just like a shot.
What's going on, my gardeners? We here in Mellow Garden, and today we are on day 30 of veg. Now in our 5th week of vegetative growth here for our little cannabis plants. And today, or I'll start with tomorrow, we are going to transplant all the girls into these 3-gallon pots here. See, we got the soil pre-mixed. I think we went over this on, what was it, our day 21, or no, day 14 video. I think we went over what I mixed into this soil. It's just been sitting here for a couple weeks now. I've been keeping it fairly moisted. It's dried out a little bit, but it's still fairly moist. But yeah, we're gonna be transplanting tomorrow. So, since we are transplanting these, what I want to do is get together a little compost tea. Compost tea is just going to be there to help maybe make the transitioning period just a little more easy on the plants, as well as help charge up this soil, the microbial life in this soil. It'll help give it a nice fresh dose, plus more food for what's already in there to help break down the nutrients, because we do want them. I think I might have been fairly heavy on the amendments in there. So we do want a fairly healthy microbial life system within our soil to rapidly break down these dry amendments and make them more available for the plants to uptake. And that's what our tea is going to do. So what you see here, plus these worm castings down here, is what I am going to utilize in the tea. And I think we'll bring the water to the ingredients instead of the ingredients to the water. We can throw this right back on the bubbler when we're done assembling everything. Grab that. This is just under 2 gallons of water in there, maybe 1.5 to 1.75. We'll put some water in this cup that we'll come back to. And usually I have some cheesecloth or something, but I can't find it, and I'm not about to run to the store for it. So we're just gonna do this way. It's gonna make our bucket a little dirty at the end, but it all gets the same process done at the end of the day. So what I'm gonna do, I think we're gonna go, that's a pretty big tablespoon, just boom, straight into the water. Again, makes the stuff a little, you're gonna have to do some cleanup work, more than you would, but it works the same as if we had cheesecloth or something to drop it in. Boom, that's 2 big tablespoons of worm castings. And I think we might go with a little bit of alfalfa. Man, I really need to get a camera stand. Alfalfa meal. Then we're gonna come to our Espoma products. I'm just doing a teaspoon of everything except the worm castings. I did 2. I guess this alfalfa meal was probably closer to half of this. Tablespoon. This is a tablespoon, ain't it? Yeah. I also couldn't find my official measure and stuff, but again, the measurements really aren't that strict with this. You could go higher even if you wanted to. You could go lower if you wanted to, but it's just how I'm doing it. So we got a light tablespoon of our biotone here. And this Espoma Biotone does contain mycorrhizae, which is nice, so I don't have to go out and buy any. This is my first run actually where I'm not using any extra mycorrhizae additive. Didn't go out and buy anything, and the plants are looking amazing without it. Espoma products are very good and inexpensive. If you're trying to get into growing, I would definitely recommend getting some. Not gonna break the bank, and they work great. Then this plant tone is just a sort of general purpose plant type food. Both of these Espoma products got lots of different microbial lives in it. Obviously this one's got fungi in it as well. That's what mycorrhizae is. It's a fungal form of life. Whereas we also got like these, what is this? Bacteria or something, other different microbial life forms. There's similar stuff on the plant tone as well. And the last component of any compost tea, you're gonna need some sugars to feed the microbes. It does not actually have to be molasses. You could probably use some raw organic type of honey as well. Maybe if there's some type of syrup that's not super processed or something, you could use it. But generally, they're just looking for something sweet to eat, is what the microbes are looking for. Sugars helps them build themselves up. If you do use molasses, the only important thing to make sure is that it is unsulfured. It does not have to be blackstrap. I think that's a slight misconception that it got me when I first started using molasses. I bought this expensive ass bottle of blackstrap. I got some regular Granny's molasses upstairs somewhere. For these purposes, that would work just as fine. Anyways, why we took our water, a little bit of water, is so we can pour this molasses in here. And the molasses, I didn't measure it out. Just do another tablespoon if you do want a measurement for it. But you'll want to, should have used the skinnier side of the spoon. But you want to have the molasses, since it's so thick, very and hard to move around. You get a little bit of water, pre-mix the molasses in there like we are doing. There, I gave that a good stirring. And that way, now that it's already pre-mixed and stuff, we can just bring it to the water. And this will help the molasses not just sink straight to the bottom of that bucket and sit down there. It'll be well dispersed. Plus, we're gonna come through with one more quick stirring. Yeah, and that is the good stuff right there. Those for the plants. I ain't never tasted none myself. But yeah, that's our compost tea. And keep it a buck with y'all. Everything up here, if you don't have it or didn't want to use it, you wouldn't have to. The only two things you truly need for compost tea is generally something that has beneficial bacteria in it, which most people know, or a simple one to do is worm castings. If you have worm castings, water, a bucket, and something sweet like molasses or honey, then you can put together this compost tea. The only other thing you need is air pumps, because this has to stay oxygenated. So we're about to get it back over there right now. Boom, we're back over here. Y'all see I don't have this directly on the carpet. I think that might help with temperature in the bucket. Sort of boosted up on cardboard and plastic down there. But we just dropped these two little nozzles in here. These two will be good enough. This is a cheap little air tank thing, or air pump for an aquarium that I got out of Walmart for like 10 bucks. It works. Then this dirty white one over here, this came off Amazon, I think. Or did this one come off Amazon? This one might have came off Amazon, or I might have got it out of a store. I actually don't remember now. But it's fairly simple. Stuff has little nozzles, and it connects to these air stones. Now, one thing to make sure is, I would get them bundled. Some of these don't come with the nozzle and air stone for some reason. This is the air stone, or that you drop in there and it kind of pumps air through. Some of them don't come with the nozzle or air stone. They just come with the pump itself, which is pretty dumb to me. Like this $10 one here from Walmart, it did not come with a nozzle or a stone. But luckily, I had an old air pump that I broke by letting it, that's another thing. With these, I'll get to that in a second. My old air pump broke, so I already had some material laying around. So luckily I didn't have to buy any extra stuff, just the pump. And I had this stuff laying around for it. But I would pay attention to that. A lot of these don't come with the accessories you need to use them, which is pretty stupid. But anyways, another thing, do not leave your pumps too close. I was an idiot and kind of had one set up like this in a way. So you see that's real close. Now, if we left this like this, that wouldn't be a problem. But generally, the very last step of the compost tea is you kind of want to put something over it to cover it, like this. Just another little plastic bag here. And when this is on here, it makes it dark in there, and stuff is going to start bubbling. It's going to really get foamy over time and kind of start to bubble up through there. That's a good sign of a good compost tea. And I did that once, and liquid spilled all through, got in my pump, and it was fried. Day 30 here, and we ain't even got to take a look at these girls yet. Yep. It is looking beautiful in here. I need to wipe that damn humidifier off. A little white crustiness at the top, kind of ugly, ain't it? But let me hit these fans. They probably blaring in y'all ear right now. And we'll come in here, chat a little bit about these. Ain't too much to say. Alrighty, come on down in here. Start over here on our left with our NFC plants. It is looking pretty good over here. These ones, honestly, we might just go ahead and do it today, really. It could do it today or tomorrow. But she is at the point, these branches, for the most part, are all even enough to where I feel like I can topper her again. We're going to hit all these higher branches. So this is getting top, this will get top, and this will get top for now. We might hit this one as well. We're going to leave this one over here alone, and then this one hiding down in here alone. But these main four right here are going to get topped again. You can see she is recovering well. Now those tops are starting to actually look like real growth, not just little nubs. So she'll be ready for that transplant with the rest of these. Now we're over here at our ice colds, right side of the tent. You see this main branch right here and kind of shot way up. So I think I might just top this one and delay the topping for these other ones. And there it is. And see, whenever this mug get close, it will not focus. I don't know how I fucked the camera up. Oh no, I can go back in the bucket, whatever. Back in the pot. We're gonna come over here, do the same thing with her. Get a good little pluck on that center top. There it is. Hers fell off somewhere, but it's top. So we just hit these two little main branches. That should let some of these smaller ones catch up with the main ones. And we're gonna come back over here to the NFC. She might as well get her as well. Boom. Got that one off. Come in here. Pull that. And we'll come over here and pull this one. And there we go. So we topped 3 of these. Obviously she does not need to be topped right now. Her topping, she's still recovering from topping. And we're gonna see how these bounce back. Should bush out some more, and they're gonna get even bigger as we transplant them tomorrow. But yeah, that's all we got going. A little update on the plants. Compost tea brewing. We're gonna let that little tea over there brew from 16 to 24 hours. I used to think it had to be longer, and I was off. I think I used to say stuff around 30 plus hours, maybe 30 to 36. That's too long. I'm wrong about that. You really don't need to go over 24 hours. Like I said, 16 to 24, 28 at the latest. The latest stuff starts to kind of degrade the longer you let it go. So that's why we got it bubbling just the day before we're gonna transplant. And yeah, that is all for our day 30 update. Alrighty, we are here on day 31. This is a Sunday, I do believe. And as y'all know, transplant time. We've got our soil that's been sitting there a couple weeks. Inside that soil, I forget the exact measurements. Go to our day 14 video. I think it's in there. But I think it's like we got a cup and a half of plant tone. You can see the little ratings for it. Then we did a cup of the Espoma Biotone, little starter, but it's mycorrhizae. Then I think there is, oops, I think my alfalfa meal wasn't in there. Would have spilled and that would have been bad. So here though. But the bone meal, this got like, I think we did 7 or 8 tablespoons of it, maybe 7 tablespoons of bone meal, plus about a cup or 2 of worm castings is in here. It is all recycled soil, 3-gallon pots. Time to drop it on in. Alrighty now, what is our method for transplanting? As y'all can see, we got a couple of our 3 gallons right here, dirt, and we've got it partially filled. This one looks like it's just around halfway or just under halfway. We're starting with our ice cold plants, by the way. So we'll take the pot, we'll come over here and set it in there. And while the top of the pot does come slightly above this pot, we can look at the soil line in here, the soil level. And that puts us about even with the top of this pot. You want to be a little bit below, that way you can throw some dirt on top of your root ball as well. I think I'm going to take just a little bit out of here. Boom, boom, boom. Share it with the other one. Now I'll show y'all a nice, easy way to get these out of these little fabric pots. All right, y'all, this would be a little simple way to get these out of here. First thing, make sure all your training stuff is out of the pot. That way you don't break nothing. We've got ours out of here. Then we just gonna flip the pot upside down. Some dirt is gonna fall off the top, especially if it's dry, which you do want it fairly dry. Come in pinching the bottom of it all the way around, sort of like this. I can already feel it starting to separate. Keep that going. And up it comes. You can see a lot of roots get pulled off with these fabric pots down in there. You can see some right in there. Not the best looking root ball I've had, not the worst. A lot of feeder roots, I'm sure, are deep inside. But now, literally just drop this in the hole we created for it. And we come down here, and you guys can see it'll have enough space when we fill it in. Which I guess we'll go ahead and do. That's just more dirt. I'm dropping it on in. Self-explanatory. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get all 3 of these transplant, yeah, I got 3 more. So I'm not gonna do all of those on camera. This is the little transplant method. I do usually use mycorrhizae like I was telling y'all, but not today. It's already in our plant tone or biotone, so should be good. Alrighty, as y'all can see, that's some transplanted plants right there. We're gonna bring the other 2 in. We did come in and give the tent a little cleaning. Looks pretty good in there. Y'all check out this weird shit happening with this little humidifier. Look at that. the little air water vapor coming in out the bottom instead of the top. It looks like she might be on the last stretch of her lifespan, doing funny stuff. But oh well. Hopefully we can keep the humidity at a decent range. Get this last little booper in there. There. And this is gonna have our plants between, I think this is the tallest one, and it's about 15 inches from the light. That ice cold right there. This ice cold number 2 is around 18 inches, or ice cold number 1 over here is 18 inches from the light. She's about 15 inches from the light. Now, actually, before we grab those, let's go ahead and get the saucers set. There those are. Now we grab the NFCs. Number 2, number 1. And it'll probably take a couple days for these to perk up and be looking happy again. Not only did we transplant them, but their original 1-gallon pots had gotten pretty dry. So that's a leaf droop there. Then the stress from transplanting them is gonna add a little bit more little droopy leaf type conditions for a little bit. But I only imagine this lasting a few days. And now, see how this good stuff is looking. Oh yeah. This is a sign that your compost tea is doing real good. Nice and aerated, all these bubbles in it. I did get down here a little later than I would have, so this one probably has brewed for 26-ish hours, 24 to 26 hours this one brewed. Again, 18 to 24 is probably the better range, or 16 hours to 24, 18. But anyways, we'll pull these 2 air stones out. Take this bucket, 16-ounce cup. And we are over here to use this stuff up. This stuff is not like savable. Once it's time to use, it's time to use. So we should try to get as much as we can on out. There we go. They should love this. Should help take some stress off of them from transplant. Today, keep our pH between 6.3, 6.6. Here our little 2x4 is. Just watered them not long ago. They were fairly dry too. Oh yeah, and today is day 33. We fed the plants with the compost tea and did our transplant on day 31. We didn't do anything day 32. And then here we are back here day 33. Everything is looking pretty good in here. See this girl, full on recovery now, looking great. I think it's been like a week and maybe a couple days, so maybe somewhere between 10 and 11 days since we topped her. Looking pretty good. I think I'm with her, just continue to let her grow up a little bit right now. Pretty soon I'm probably about to come and pinch off these big leaves off of her, because they do kind of cover these bottom tops right here, bottom branches. I'm gonna let these bottoms and tops catch up a little bit more by themselves before I start LST in these 2 top branches.
which we will just use the staples and come down like that. Moving on from our NF sheesh number 2 to our NF sheesh number 1 over here. So you can see plenty of little tops creeping up on her. What has it been? Maybe 3 weeks now since we untopped her, almost. Plenty of stuff going on down in there. And I do think I want to start training these back out. We did, or yeah, it's been actually 3 weeks since we topped her the first time. We just came through and did a second topping not too long ago. I wonder if that was in my lost footage or if I already uploaded that. I forget right now, but we did do a second topping on her with all the tallest branches. And I think it is about time that we start coming in and defoliating some leaves that are blocking growth sites, potentially. So like this one right here we'll get rid of, and boom we're gonna get more light. I think I'm gonna come in and get rid of this leaf right here. Opens up light to this top. We're gonna get rid of this leaf. Now you can see boom and boom. What else might we want to get rid of? We're gonna come get rid of this leaf over here. And we'll get rid of this right here. And now that's opened up the canopy a lot more. So some of these lower branches will be exposed to more light, and that will help them catch up in addition to our training. Alrighty, and we do have some of our garden staples here. Honestly, I think I want to start investing in some bud clips. I'll be watching Ribby Boy, Green Magic Gardening. He be utilizing bud clips. They look a lot more convenient to use, because these you got to make sure you can get it down in the soil. With the little clips, you could just come like clip it on right here, and it would help this stay down so you could train it out. Obviously we could just push it down by ourselves, but it's going to pop up within like 30 minutes to an hour, so you'd have to frequently come down here and do that. So I think bud clips are where it's at. I'm gonna try to get some, but for now these staples will do for her. She's still close enough to the ground, or to the dirt. So or just barely. See, I'm struggling to get her on. There we go. We got that one coming down some, which will help its auxiliaries come up, and we want it to fill out the width of this pot, so this will get it growing out, and then it'll curve back up, of course, but it's gonna come out this way. These two we're gonna send back to the back of the tent. This one I'm gonna try to angle. This here I'm gonna try to angle around this way. You kind of got to be a little methodical with it, because obviously you don't want your plants overshadowing each other. So the most space they're gonna have is front and back. So that's where I'm trying to angle my branches. Right here on her, this is a point where we would like a bud clip. We could like poke a hole in the pot and use a tie down, or just find something to tie it to that we could stick in the dirt, but this one cannot reach the bottom. It's already too tall, so we're gonna have to figure something out with that. Come over here to the ice cold number 1. I'm gonna throw a staple on her. When you do, make sure you don't cover up the auxiliaries. That'll hurt them with popping out some more. And I think we're gonna do some defoliation on her too. So we'll get rid of this leaf and this leaf. And as you can see, that opens up more light down to that. And we're gonna take this leaf. I think I'll leave this one alone. These two now have more light. Kind of see it even looks a little more opened up in there with just those few leaves getting taken off. All right, my YouTube garden. We are back in here on day 34. It's a good Wednesday for us. Finishing out this 5th week of veg, I believe it is. Crack open the tent. All right, and as we come back in here, see everything is looking pretty good. Some stuff has bounced back fully from the little bit of training we did. You see over here, this NF sheesh number 1 pulled the staple right on out the soil to come back up. That's where the weak points of these staples come in. You'll have to either get really long ones or start utilizing something else. Our ice cold number 1 over here is still doing a fairly good job with the staples. This main branch over here is getting a little tall for it. This leaf right down here is getting pretty close to the dirt, so we're gonna pick it off. But I do think I've got a way that I wanna start training these, the ones that are too tall, especially with our ice cold number 2 over here. If you look at her, compared to everything else in the tent, she is getting huge. She's about 14 inches tall already. With this being a smaller tent, it's only 2 by 4 by 5 feet tall. I usually like to flip things into flower at around 17 to maybe 18 inches in height, because they're gonna roughly double up once we flower. Even with our trellis work, right, it'll help us spread it all out, but they're still gonna grow up pretty tall. Again, we've been messing with these genetics for a cool minute now here, so we got a good idea of how they're gonna do. This one is still kind of surprising though, that it has grown this tall this quick. You would think this came from a clone, the way it's all nice and branched out, super tall already compared to everything else in here. Like, these branched out nicely, but come on. So we definitely gonna have to find some clones to take off this girl. We're gonna do a much better job keeping them alive. Right over here, y'all can see I did come and rip off them big leaves. They actually still just sitting up here. I ain't put them in my bucket yet, but these would have been right on here. Came and tore it off. All right, y'all. I came in here and readjusted all 4 plants with their training. Starting over here, our NF sheesh number 1. She is a very compact, bushy plant. You see all those little tops down in there? So we got all these bigger ones bent over. And for the one where I couldn't use the staple, you see I stuck the staple in, then I got some of this garden wire, a loop and a loop, and that'll help us for now. We did a similar thing over here with NF sheesh number 2, with its 2 tops that came from us topping it, which I don't even know if it's been 2 weeks yet since we topped this girl. But same thing, stuck the staples in the dirt and connected the tie downs to the staples, or stakes, whatever you want to call them. And then we come on over here, ice cold number 1, similar deal. Where we could staple it, we did. Where we couldn't, we utilized our tie downs. And then ice cold number 2, the one that really needed it. You can see that main stem is tied down to a staple back there. We had to use 2 to kind of push the staple in some and keep that bent how we want it. We got another one bent back there. And I tied down this one right here. I haven't tied down all of them just yet, but they probably will all need to be tied down at some point. With some of these other ones, they're a lot more malleable, so I can come in and bend them. And what's going on, gardeners? We here on our last day of week 5. Today is Thursday, day 35 of the grow. And as y'all can see, everything can already bounce back kinda, or restored itself from the little bit of training we did just yesterday. This training stuff is like a full-time process. You kind of got to be on top of it. But yeah, I don't think we got too much that we got going today. Probably maybe watering. Honestly, they don't feel that dry. These leaves over here look a little bit concerning. They don't look the most happy on this plant. I almost kind of want to wait another day to water these. They don't feel too dry, kind of moist in there. So today's update might not have too much to it. I'm just gonna kind of let the girls continue to ride out like this. On this NF sheesh over here, we're just waiting for some of these smaller tops to grow up and to get these already big ones to go ahead and expand the width of the pot. Kind of got the same deal going here with number 2. We want these smaller tops to grow up and these larger ones to spread out to the width of the pot. We are gonna have to come in here and readjust all these tie downs. Something like that. Alrighty, so I came in and I did just a little bit of adjusting. You see this one here, I might throw a little staple on to keep it down on our NF sheesh number 2. These are starting to train out well, which allow these to start to come up a good amount. Oh, almost dropped camera. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck this leaf. I'm not gonna get rid of it, but it's blocking this top right now. So a fine tuck will do. Same here, tuck a leaf. Let that get some light. You'll have to come in and readjust tucking them often though, because they will put themselves back in a more optimal position. I don't really want to do too much more defoliating with this plant right now. It's already fairly bare. It's not too thick with leaves. Could probably count the amount of leaves on here with 1 or 2 hands. So we tuck them. Then over here, I did a slight bit of adjustment. I didn't do much with this one. It's still in a good shape. Just a little bit of expanding out the branch. So we pull it down, pull up the staple, scoot it up, readjust. Same there. And it's the same there. Here we did kind of readjust this staple to bring that down some. And the rest of these we are just continuing to let go for the most part. But that is what we've got going here on day 35 of veg. Now entering our week 6. And I'm thinking we've maybe got 20 days, 3-ish weeks until we're ready to flip these to flower. Imagine about, how long has it been since we've transplanted? It's been like half a week. So in a few more days, these should really be settled into these 3-gallon pots. The roots should have spread out a little bit more. And we should start getting some more of that rapid vegetative growth back that we had been having while these were in the 1-gallon pots. You'll see how well they did. Again, they've only been in these like 4 days. So yeah, about a weekish, they should have some fairly established themselves inside of these. And since they aren't that established and this soil isn't too dry, I'm not gonna water them again today. They'll probably be ready tomorrow. And that's what we got going for week 6. If you enjoyed the video, do be sure to leave us a like. If you haven't yet, do subscribe to the channel. If you tap the bell, it'll let you know whenever I do upload, which is usually going to be Mondays and Thursdays for the 2 different grow series I got going right now. This 2x4 is Thursdays. Then over there, I've got a little makeshift space that I've got some plants that we're going to take outdoors next month, and that'll be Mondays. Other than that, this is Rello Mello's Garden, and we out.